Hi, my name is Alex and I welcome you to today's video. For years fans waited for a good successor to the Flatout series. With changing studios and publishers, the once glorious series was driven full speed into the wall with incredibly crappy Flatout 3 and the at best average Flatout 4. So now it's up to the Finns from Bugbear who once invented Flatout and made it big. After almost 3 years, the spiritual successor Wreckfest is finally available on Nintendo's hybrid console. When cars collide with each other at high speed, it would be very unfunny if only the paint got scratched a bit, although this is still the rule in most other racing games. You don't have to worry about such shortcomings of the damage model in Wreckfest. The artfully destroyed vehicles may not always look realistic, but when the car body disregards all the rules of geometry after a collision, or the rear end is compressed beyond recognition and reveals the rear wheel, it's a highlight for destruction fans. While in other racing games, contact is usually to be avoided, in Wreckfest it is good manners to force opponents off the track, provoke spins or drive into their rear before a turn. Because why brake when you can slow down another way? However, everyone in Wreckfest drives like this, including the CPU opponents, and it can be frustrating when someone shoots you off the track in the last lap, which can cost you 10 points or more in view of the usually tight-packed field of drivers. If you lose contact with the field once, you can rarely catch up again due to the lack of rubber band AI. On the other hand, this is exactly what makes for exciting, believable racing right up to the last corner, especially since the opponents also make understandable mistakes. In view of the fantastic damage model, this is understandable. A large part of the courses is also designed to make things crash as often as possible. Sometimes there are no barriers, so that even a small push sends you into oncoming traffic. Sometimes there are even intersections which almost inevitably lead to pileups with so many cars. This can be great fun if you can just about sneak through, or it can be very annoying at the beginning of your career when you become part of a pileup and lose a victory you thought was safe. Only in the course of time will you learn to drive with foresight, but even then not every crash can be avoided, because Wreckfest incomprehensibly provides very little help in recognizing opponents. Even more dependent on luck are of course the destruction derbies in the associated arenas. With luck, the vehicles have already taken a lot of damage, so a slight nudge is enough to finish them off. If you're unlucky, a victim you thought you'd already killed will be taken from under your nose. For a racing game, almost nothing is as important as the tracks. And of course, there are a lot of them in Wreckfest. Apart from a few exceptions, most of them are a bit boring and lack variety. From a technical point of view, the last THQ Nordic ports were a bit more mixed to begin with. However, Wreckfest runs well for the most part. The game runs at a mostly constant 30 frames per second on the Switch, which it can usually maintain. In a few very turbulent scenes, there can be short drops in the frame rate. The Switch version also has to make the known sacrifices in terms of resolution, but they are less noticeable than in other Switch ports. All in all, Wreckfest is definitely one of the more impressive ports from THQ Nordic. So let's come to a conclusion. Despite the lack of variety in track design and the half frame rate, Wreckfest is a thoroughly enjoyable racing game, which may not come close to a Flatout 2, but is still the best game of its genre in the last 10 years. Since the Switch version could also convince me, there is a clear buy recommendation for fans of the genre. For these reasons I rate Wreckfest for the Nintendo Switch an 8 out of 10. Thanks for watching. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below. If you liked it, we would be very happy about a like and a subscription. Or if you're interested in getting early access to our future reviews, feel free to visit our Patreon page.
Closed doors, I'm a fool for your love.